Hey, Stevie on here doing a junkyard crawl in Brimfield, Massachusetts at One Stop Towing with the Camaro Comparo Part 2. Now, if you grew up in the 80s like I did, Gen-3 Camaros were everywhere, and you loved them. I know I surely did. 5-liter Mustang buyers and owners were the enemy if you had these cars, but this one here is an example of the base sport coupe seen from 1982 all the way through 1988. What's notable about this is what you don't see. This is the Z28 style tail spoiler, the rear fascia with the body effects kit, the blacked out tail lamps. By contrast, the sport coupe lacks all of those things. No blackout strip, no wide fascia, no tail, nothing. That said, the hatch is essentially the same, the massive interior the same, and the hydraulic struts that lose their charge and drop the same. Of course, the high back buckets, the center console, part of every Camaro in the Gen-3 family. Now, what we have in this case here is not a Z28 or an IROC. This is actually something called a Camaro RS, and we can see the RS on the right-hand side of the bumper. The RS arrived in 1989 and replaced the Sport Coupe as the base Camaro. In other words, you get the Z28 look with no extra charge. So again, the base Camaro died in '88, leaving the RS to look like a sporty Z28, but without the hot rod engines. Now, under the inside of the first couple of years, 1982, 3, and 4, the speedometer is very strange. Z28s and base coupes and Berlinettas all had that weird dual mode speedometer. We can see one needle does both jobs, the standard, the English, and the metric. Look at that, isn't that crazy how the speedometer goes to 85 miles per hour on one side and up to what, 120 or whatever it is kilometers per hour on the other. But that was standard stuff in 82, 3, and 4. That would go away in 1985, but keep in mind, the 85 mile an hour speedometer was seen all the way through 1987. Finally, in 1988, a 110 mile an hour speedometer arrived for non-Z28s, and 140 mile an hour speedometer arrived in 1988 for the IROCs and the Zs. So weird little tiny differences. Now, as we move down the side of the car, let's get back to this 1989 RS. And like a Z28, it has the lower body skirts, the body kit, drum brakes on the back here. You paid extra for the disc brakes, and you could get disc brakes on the rear in a 4-cylinder car, yes, or a non-Z if you really wanted it. But here we have the basic drums you'll see on most of these things. Now, those drums are iron. There was also an aluminum drum option on certain Z28s, not seen here. But again, inside this one, this is an RS. This one has the 5-speed manual, or I should say had it, but there's the console, there's the shift pattern on the top. Now, the thing is, that's the base transmission, the 5-speed, whether it was a V6 or a 4 or a 305. You paid an extra $490 for the 700R4 4-speed overdrive automatic. But the speedometer on this one, as we can see, still reads in a circular way, but there's no more metric, and this one goes to 110 miles per hour. Again, it's not a Z28 or an IROC. That would be a 140 mile an hour speedometer. But again, that manual transmission is kind of a nice bonus, but keep in mind, that was the base tranny. Again, you paid $490 extra for the automatic transmission. And if you had a 5.7 or a 350 powered IROC-Z, you couldn't get a stick. They were always automatics. Oh well. But another part of the RS 1989 up was the Z28 or IROC-Z style hood. Kind of a nice deal. The base Camaro had this cool hood. But here's the deal. These don't do anything. We can see here that these louvers look pretty cool, but they're blocked off. They admit nothing, no air, no water, no nothing. They do look cool, but the only holes you'll see are these 1, 2, 3, or 6 mounting holes, which are blocked on the other side. So no water, no air, no nothing, but they look cool. By contrast, the base sport coupes, you know, it had a standard hood, but there was a decor option. We see it here on this one. That is an emulation of the Z28 Scoop outline with a sticker. And yes, that was a dealer add-on item right there. So everyone wanted a piece of the Z28, didn't always want to pay for it. Now, another thing we see on the standard sport coupes is kind of an awkward nose. Right here, we can see where the fascia is rounded and it has a big drop off. There's no deep chin spoiler. It looks kind of awkward, but that's what you found on the front of base coupes and Berlinettas up till 1987, 88. Here again is the Z28 or 89 up rally sport type front end, also seen on IROCs. And something kind of cool is the license plate frame up front was specific to the Z28 and the chin spoiler. And in fact, in the parts bin, to avoid confusion, the letters Z28 was actually embedded into the license plate frame up front to avoid folks getting the wrong part. Again, a different part would fit onto a non-RS, non-Z, non-IROC sport coupe like this. Under the hood, sport coupes could have the Iron Duke 4-banger, and this one has the 2.8 liter V6, which would grow to 3.1 liters, I believe, in 1989 or so. But again, that's a 60-degree V6, also seen in the Fiero, also seen in the Chevy Citation. Not a bad little engine, 173 cubic inches, but not a ball of fire. By contrast, the RS could be had with the V6 or a V8, again, only the 305. Now, the RS was never available with the tune port injected 305 that was possible in the Z28 or the IROC. These would have a 305 with either a carburetor or the throttle body fuel injection. So we have here. Oh, surprise, look at this. That was not grown here from the factory. That's a big block Chevy, but it speaks to the fact that these cars have extremely wide engine bays and will accept anything you want to put in. Now that's a big block Chevy, not sure what size or any of that kind of stuff, probably a 454, maybe a 402. Got the cast iron intake, Rochester 4-barrel quadrijet, HEI distributor. But again, the beauty of that is that it shows us that these Gen 3 Camaros are readily adapted to hot rodding, and you can put whatever you want in these things. In fact, General Motors did build some big block powered Camaros. They were basically from John Moss's toy box. I worked at Hot Rod Magazine from 1998 through 2004, 2005. And John Moss had the toy box. And yeah, we saw some 502 and 572 powered Camaros like these, but again, they were not production cars. But anyway, that's the story of the Camaro Comparo. And if you like what you see here, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel and keep your eyes out for these early Camaros. These are heating up rapidly.